Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Reality Derby. I am Marcus James Dixon.
I'm Denton Davidson, and we are here today with an interview with the Colton Underwood of Traitors infamy now. He's been getting a lot of mixed press.
I know, yeah, the fans are really, really anti Colton. I'm surprised he actually did press. I know we got him. I'm sure he's doing other outlets as well. But yeah, we'll also dive into episode 8 of The Traitors and give our thoughts on. There's some really stupid gameplay happening, especially from one of the traitors, which we'll talk about later.
It's pretty obnoxious.
All right, well, let's get into hear what Colton had to say. All right, so we are here with Colton Underwood, who was murdered in episode 8 of The Traitors. What was your initial reaction to finding out that you are now deceased?
I was bummed. I really was. I think it showed on the television show. Like I just really enjoyed the game and competing and trying to find out who the traitors were. Like I really threw myself into it full steam ahead and I was proud of the game that I played. I also knew with the style that I was playing that I either had to be recruited or I wasn't going to last much longer. Then, I totally get what Candace did, but I think Rob, that was the most brilliant move that Rob possibly could have done for his game.
I was gonna say, like, he didn't really defend you in the turret, but I mean, how did you feel when you watched that play out?
I mean, I was proud of him. They just do like as a competitor and as a game player and like understanding what we were doing on the traders. It is an individual game. Of course, it's faithful versus traders, but he made the best move that he could make for Rob, and I was proud of him. It was cutthroat, it was ruthless, but that's the game we're playing.
And he was really close to you in the game. Did you ever get a hint or an inkling that maybe this guy is a traitor?
I did. My antennas went up when he told everybody about the dagger. I think that was his only mistake in the game so far. I don't think the others clocked it, but for me, it just really I was so confused why he told everybody. It felt like a coverage play, and he was trying to protect himself a little bit, and that is when sort of my antennas went up on him.
Well, you were a traitor hunter in the game. You got out Donna, you got out Lisa. Who was next on your radar? Was it Johnny?
No, it was Candace.
Okay.
And I think you see the conversation with Johnny and and I didn't trust Johnny because he obviously had my name brought up several times. So I gave him a sort of a name that I wasn't truly going for was Steven. But Candace was on my radar and Candace was next for me. And uh, I'll say this, there was some people I've seen in the comments of why did you go after Lisa as hard as you did? And the strategy was I wanted to draw another traitor out. I wanted to see who moved me off of Lisa, if I could be loud and go for her really aggressively and proactively. If there was somebody to do that. And it was Candace. I think we all saw her loyalty, which I commend her. She stuck by her housewife and she made that pact and she lived and died by it. But Candace was up next for me.
Michael Rapaport, he was quite a character on the show. He kind of went he got some flack for a comment about saying that you would be good at keeping a secret. All these months later, how do you feel about that comment and where does your relationship stand with him?
I think in the moment, what you see is sort of me just taken aback. I think what I would say is I feel like it was a low blow. I felt like it was sort of outside of the sort of unspoken rules of the game, which is, keep the evidence that you bring to the table related to the game and related to what happens in the castle and on the missions. And I don't think Michael's a homophobe. I do think he talks fast and he puts his foot in his mouth a lot. I'm sure he would be the first to admit that. I think he says some things that he regrets. But we have spoken since filming. He called me and FaceTimed, and I'm not somebody who holds grudges. I'm somebody in my life who has made plenty of mistakes, said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, and I sort of forgave and moved on. And if he's at the reunion, look forward to saying hi to him.
Yeah, you said he puts his foot in his mouth. He also puts food in his mouth at a very odd angle. What's your reaction to seeing Michael Rapaport eat food?
My husband's not going to like that. I'm sort of not defending it, but I grew up in a household where you had to eat the food on your plate or somebody else was going to eat it. So I respect trying to eat as quick as you possibly can. Could he have done it on television a little bit more eloquently? Of course. But the shovel technique, I understand. I get it.
So switching gears, if you had entered this game as a traitor, if Alan Cumming had tapped your shoulder, what would your strategy have been?
Very similar to Rob's, I think. He's playing a very tactical and a very precise game. I think that would have sort of been how I would have played it. He's also playing a savage game, and I mean, you saw sort of how I held myself at the round tables. I think I would have been able to flip that switch too and enter that mode. But all these hypotheticals are so fun to talk about, and that's just what makes this game so entertaining.
Rob is now trying to recruit Eric Nam to the treacherous side. That's where the episode
Yes.
ended. Do you think Eric would be a good traitor?
Eric is so far in over his head, it's not even funny. I love Eric so much. He is an incredible person, and was somebody who sort of was an ally for me in the game. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out because that is a much different role. The pressure is even more intense than what it is as a faithful. So I'm rooting for him, but I do know like it is going to be a big challenge for him.
Yeah, Eric, he thought he heard Tiffany's laugh and he didn't, and he thought the handwriting was Johnny's and it wasn't. I mean, he's not an excellent faithful. Maybe we'll just say that.
I think it's, for the fans to sort of say that, I do think it's unfair because as when you watch a show, you guys have all the answers. You have all the pieces of the puzzle. We don't. We're in Scotland and the paranoia is an all-time high. You're reading into every little detail. Of course you're going to be wrong. Look how wrong I was with Tiffany. You do the best with the information that you have. So what I respect though is he's playing the game hard. He's throwing names out. He's not afraid to sort of speak his mind. I think those are the faithfuls for me that like I really enjoyed working with is people who were willing to throw names out like I was.
What was your absolute favorite moment during this whole experience?
I think entering the castle and it just reminded me a lot of being in locker rooms, the melting pot of cultures, being on the same show as Donna Kelsey, Lisa Renna, Candace, Tiffany. Like in my like there's no other show that I would be on a television show with any of those people. To I watched Natalie on television and Jam Jam and like just to spend time with them, to get to know them, was truly an honor for me. And just the friendships that I've made too. It's like we're sort of trauma bonded at this point of the castle in Scotland.
Speaking of Jam Jam, what was it like at that banquet, the moment the guards came and pulled him away? Was it as crazy and wild as it appeared to be on TV?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it was just sweet justice because I was like, I'm so glad he was screaming Lisa's name because that just gave me, it took all the pressure off me. I didn't have to do any more work. I do much more work. I just had to use his words as he was leaving the show.
And if you could go back and change one thing, like what is your biggest regret in the game?
At the very end, I wish I would have continued to play as loud as I did about who I thought the traitors was. I think me being slightly on Candace was my downfall. I should have been very bold. I should have told Candace that I'm coming for her just to protect myself a little bit more and make it known that I was saying her name.
So now you've done The Traitors, you've done The Bachelor. What reality show is next on Colton Underwood's to-do list?
My perspective of this industry and where my career is right now has changed a lot. I have a family. It's not the same as when I was a 20-year-old, signing up and being able to sort of take the heat, right? Like I have a husband who's not really in the public eye and I have a baby to protect. And, the new style of fans for reality television is very intense. So, I really enjoyed the entertainment industry. I really enjoyed producing, creating. So I'm definitely staying in it. I don't know what the cards hold for me as, my next project in front of the camera. But I do have a few projects lined up for me producing and creative directing. So I'm very excited about that.
All right, that is what Colton had to say. And he kind of opened up about Michael Rapaport, his feelings on Michael. And they FaceTimed since the episode, which is interesting.
I mean, there's so much behind the scenes drama with this show. I'm happy to know he thinks Michael Rapaport is not a homophobe. I mean, that's great for everyone to know now, I guess. But I think people have made up their minds. And reality fans are reality fanning. And I think those two are probably the least liked among Traitors fans at this point, although there's still time.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said earlier, the fandom is really anti Colton. And I asked him like, what show do you want to do next after The Traitors and after The Bachelor? And he said, he doesn't see himself doing much anymore. He's got a family now, and he said the fandom is very intense these days. So I think that was his subtle way of combating all of the hatred he's been getting online.
He'll be back. He will be back on reality TV. It's his whole career. I mean, come on.
Well, let's start with Colton being murdered. I was really shocked by that, mainly because there's only two traitors left, and Rob is like besties with Colton, and he's like, Candace, you can just do whoever you want, kill whoever you want. But it turned out that that was like a mastermind move of Rob's.
Yeah, Rob is playing the game, and he's playing it better than anyone else right now. So he let his number one ally get thrown to the wolves, and it's working in his benefit, despite everything that transpired that we're going to get into. I mean, Rob is still holding the power position, and even without Colton there to sort of have his back, I think he's looking like he's in a pretty good position.
Yeah, and he's only received two votes at roundtables, both of them from Candace. The first time she did this, she said it was a rogue vote. I knew he wasn't going home. And then a week later, she starts going after him at the round table. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is proving it wasn't a rogue vote. This is clearly, and I know that we know what's going on and the players don't, but this is clearly traitor on traitor violence. I don't know how they can't see it.
Well, I think Candace had come to the conclusion, she was like, I'm dead. Like, I'm going home. And she was just bound and determined to take Rob down with her. And she did everything, but which I'm sure is in the contract, say, you're a traitor. And I am too, and I know it. But like, what else could she have done? Like, she was literally like just shoveling at them. They even questioned her, like, last week you said it was rogue, and now you're just going after him. And they just thought it was shady of her, and it's not connecting in any of their heads that she's literally, as you said, feeding them a traitor, and they refuse to eat the food.
I mean, it's really crazy. And then after that roundtable, when Candace went home almost unanimously, everyone's like, "Oh, it's not Rob. It can't be Rob."
Yeah, she's crazy. Yeah, even Kristen and Eric were like, "Oh, not sweet little Rob. It could never be."
Yeah, he's got a spell over them or something. Maybe it's his overalls. They're all blinded by the blue overalls.
It's just so weird because anyone can be a traitor. Like, that's the point of the show. It's so bizarre. They don't go in and choose themselves as traitors. So it's just so weird to me to think that people could think certain people couldn't possibly be. That's the point. Everyone could be.
Oh, you mentioned Eric Nam, and now we know that he is the one that Rob has decided to go after in terms of like making him a traitor. Do you think this is a good recruit option? I love this option.
I mean, it's a good option to move forward in the game, and it's a good long-term option. I think they're going to work well together as both unsuspecting traitors. However, I don't know if it's the best move for Rob in terms of if he can beat him in the end, and if he's going to be able to convince other people that Eric is a traitor before they turn on Rob. The good thing is that like Eric doesn't seem very savvy, so I can't see Eric successfully turning on Rob and making that happen either. Rob, I thought he was just going to go for Johnny because Johnny is sort of getting a little heat now. I think it was wise not to go for Johnny. I think Johnny is savvy enough where if he walked in there, he would be like, okay, I know what you're doing. I think he would have paired up with Tara and said, Candace targeted Rob for a reason. We have to get rid of him. So I think Johnny would have gone after Rob, and I think Eric will just be his little toy.
It would have been a brilliant move if he had recruited Dorinda, because then once Dorinda got voted out, they would be like, oh my gosh, it was all Housewives. It was Dorinda, it was Lisa, it was Candace. Like after a season of All Gamers, now they've gone the reverse. So I think that would have been my move if I was Rob and I was the last traitor standing. But I like Eric. I mean, Eric is not doing too well as a faithful. He doesn't know Tiffany's laugh and he doesn't know Johnny's handwriting, but still he's putting out names at least. Like some of these some of these faithful are not doing anything at all. And at least Eric is trying to play the game. Even though he's wrong, he's trying.
The only reason I would maybe have not gone for Dorinda is because everyone is sort of saying there has to be a man. So he is at least getting that off of his back. Although it would have been brilliant, as you said, if he did recruit Dorinda and somehow was like, let's just try Dorinda. Maybe it was all housewives. Like, let's just throw it out there. And if she goes home and she's a faithful, fine. But like, we could see if it sticks. But him and Eric, it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
I love how Dorinda did a rogue vote also toward Mora, and nobody even cares. Like, it was only Candace's rogue vote that they cared about, which is so funny.
Unless that's edited out. I mean, we don't really know. But yeah, nobody seems to know what Dorinda is doing. I don't know if Dorinda knows what Dorinda is doing. And I also don't know if Mora knows what Mora is doing. I mean, those two are the most wackadoodle duo in the house. So who knows?
I love how Candace clocked the moment when Rob dropped his fork at breakfast, and she's like, "That proves you're a traitor. You dropped your fork." Like, these people are like, they're trying their hardest, and it's just really good. It's good television.
To have so many people not be able to recognize that they should at least look in the direction of who the last traitor went after time and time again, we've seen that transpire, and why she would have gone after him so hard for no other reason
Out of nowhere. Yeah.
is bizarre. After he targeted Lisa, it's mind-boggling. I can't wait to ask all these people, like, what were you thinking?
We have to have faith that someone in that castle is going to put two and two together. I don't know who it'll be. Maybe Johnny. I mean, Johnny seems like he's pretty savvy. It's possible somebody will clock this and realize, oh my gosh, Candace was pointing us that way.
Johnny seems like the only intelligent person left. And but even still, he's been wrong most of the game. But he at least has like coherent thoughts. Like, everyone else in the game, it seems like they're just in the twilight zone. I don't know what's going on. Even their diary room confessions are just all over the place. Everyone who was playing the game in sound mind has been banished or murdered.
Kristen is also very savvy, and I'm sort of waiting for her.
I thought she was until she's the one that's leading the charge of it couldn't possibly be Rob. I thought she was much smarter than she's showing herself to be on television.
I'm waiting for her to emerge as like the next traitor hunter, but so far we haven't seen it.
And all the gamers are gone. Natalie is like the smart. She's the only person left, the only gamer left, and even she doesn't seem to be under Rob.
She could be the one though. If there's one person that figures out what's going on, it could be her. She wrote down Tara's name, and then she apologized later. She's like, I didn't know. Like, I felt bad writing your name down.
I'm curious to see what she says about the situation on her own next week, if she has thoughts about what Candace did.
Yeah, I'm rooting for her. Obviously, I've always loved the gamers, and she's the only one left. So at this point, I want her to win. Are you rooting for anyone that you want to win the show?
I mean,
you've always loved Johnny and Tara together. You love that duo.
I do. So I guess it would be fun if to see them win. Otherwise, I would just like to see Rob win. I'd like to see a traitor win again. It's interesting how the whole world fell in love with him, and after this Candace thing, the tides are shifting. I mean, he's getting a lot of hate now. Suddenly, it's I hate cocky men. The love for Rob is dying down. He would have been better off in the PR world if he would have been murdered last week. He would have become the most beloved person on the show. Now it's interesting to see what's becoming of his reputation.
I think if Rob and Eric are smart up in that turret, they will start like putting more fake evidence on Steven, because Steven already has a lot on him, and he could be the one that gets banished next if they do their job, and really ramp up the idea like, well, hey, Lisa put the gold in your bag a couple weeks ago. That was weird. You didn't have a relationship. Like, if they amp that up, I think Steven could be the next one to be banished. But who do you think they're going to murder?
That's a likable duo of traitors too. So if those two go to the end together, I think people could get behind that. I'm not sure who they're going to murder. If they're smart, they probably will murder Johnny.
Yeah, I could see that. Or someone in the background like Mark Ballas. We haven't even mentioned Mark's name. I forgot he was still there.
Yeah, but Mark is one who Rob has said he has in his back pocket. So I think Rob's protecting Mark. He needs Mark more than he needed Colton, who had some heat on him. So I don't see them going after Mark. I think it'll be Johnny or Tara. Maura's not a threat, so I don't see them going in that direction. And I believe Eric is very close with Kristen, so she's probably going to be safe now for a while.
Well, there's only 4 episodes left. It's winding down. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week on Reality Derby.